Well, I don't know if we're live yet, but for the time being, I guess we're watching these beautiful desync demos. On air. Alright, cool. And I guess since looks like we're behind schedule a little bit, I'll try not to dilly-dally too much and get started as soon as possible. Oh, you hear me but don't see me. Alright, live now, go whenever. Alright, cool. I just got the okay. So, this is Heretic. I'm going to be playing on Thou Art a Smitemeister difficulty. This game's equivalent of Ultra Violence. This is like Nightmare, so we're not going to play that because it's gimmicky. Alright, so I guess I'll just get started. So 3, 2, 1, go. I chose the wrong episode. Alright, we'll try that again. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright. So this is Heretic, and as you can probably see, this is on the Doom engine, and it plays very similar to Doom. It was actually developed in part by id Software. It was a collaboration between id Software and Raven Software, but I think Raven did most of it, with id Software mainly just helping with the engine and things like that. So I'm going to be quick saving a lot, because this is kind of like Wolf 3D where things can just go really wrong really fast. And I'm actually not too happy about this health right now, so I'm going to play this part safe. I'm not using the Doomsday engine. I'm playing on Chocolate Heretic because it's the most accurate version. It's the most accurate source port of the game. Most of the other source ports don't do everything correctly. Like, for example, I know GZ Doom, the vertical collision detection is different. So, like, you can go over and under some things that you can't in the original. And it also doesn't emulate the stun effect from Molitor's correctly. So there's just like small little differences, so I prefer to just play on Chocolate since it's nice and accurate. So I'm sure most people in the chat are probably familiar with this game because it's quite a popular game, but just in case, this is pretty much just fantasy Doom. Gameplay wise it's very similar. It's got very similar weapons and level design style, but with a fantasy flavor. So instead of using guns, you're using, you know, crossbows and magic spells and wands and stuff like that. So yeah, no one tell the staff that I managed to get 3 games into the marathon and none of them have a single gun in them. Because I'm doing Hexen and Chex Quest tomorrow, so. The name of the program is Chocolate Heretic. It is the Heretic branch of Chocolate Doom. Yeah, that's actually the case with a lot of people, underscore. Even though Heretic was the first game in the series, a lot of people played Hexen and then didn't even realize that Heretic exists. So, yeah, this game is actually the predecessor to Hexen, which is a much more popular game that a lot more people have played. But this game was still popular in its own right too. Popular enough to get a sequel. So. I like to do this part a little more risky, but it didn't go well. So, similar to like Doom and a lot of other FPSs, there's a lot of randomness with the way the enemies behave in this game. So a lot of getting good at the speedrun is learning how to like respond correctly to whatever patterns the enemy gives you, because you're pretty much never going to have the same run. Enemies are always going to do something unexpected, and you can't just muscle memory it to the end. You have to improvise a lot of it. So here I'm just going to kill one of these guys so I can get the key without getting crushed. I'm going to save ammo by switching to the Elven Wand. So here's something really cool that I love about this game is the Tome of Power. It's probably the most unique part of the game. Like Doom, this game has your standard set of weapons, but it also has a system where you can use power-ups, as you've probably seen me using. There's an inventory system, and the coolest power-up is the Tome of Power. The Tome of Power basically turns your weapon into a better weapon, and it doesn't just like up the damage values or something like that. In a lot of cases, it pretty much turns into a completely different weapon with completely different properties. So for example, the rocket launcher in this game, when you use the Tome of Power, it turns into a flamethrower with really high DPS, actually the highest DPS of any weapon in the game. So it basically doubles the weapon count. It's really cool. So I just picked one up, so you'll see when I use it. Not on this level. I think I use this tome on the next level. That also comes down to a lot of the strategy of the speedrun is learning when you should use your items. But an important thing to note about that is the way that items cross between levels. So when you go to a new level, you'll keep your items, but the count of every one of your items will get reduced to 1. So you can't carry like a whole stockpile of quartz flasks, the potions, to the next level. You'll just have 1 on the next level. And the same goes with tomes and all the other items. There's only one exception, which is the Wings of Wrath. The Wings of Wrath are another really unique and cool item in this game. They let you fly. Kind of looks like the no. It gets compared a lot to like no clip in other games where you can just fly freely in any direction. So the Wings of Wrath are the only exception to the one of each item rule, because the Wings of Wrath you can never carry to the next level. They will just get taken away. And the reason for that is just because you could carry tomes to levels where, or you could carry wings to levels where they're not intended and just break the level. So instead, you can only use Wings of Wrath on the level you get them. This is Heretic. Specifically, Heretic Shadow of the Serpent Riders, which I guess I should explain that. Shadow of the Serpent Riders is the free expansion for Heretic. So if you remember Doom, where Doom came out, and then later they released Ultimate Doom, which included an extra free episode. It's the same deal with this game, where they released Heretic and then it had 3 episodes. And then later they released Shadow of the Serpent Riders, which was a free expansion that included 2 extra new episodes. And I'm going to be playing those 2 extra episodes as well. So this is a 5-episode run. It looks a lot like Doom because it pretty much is Doom. It's the same engine and the same core gameplay. So if I get lucky here, I might be able to show off a little sequence break in this next level, or the level we're on. You can skip a short little sequence here and get a blue key early. So see if the enemies are going to be nice. I need one of the tall guys, but oh yeah, I got it. All right, cool. So yeah, I just did a little skip there. One of the advancements that Heretic makes to the Doom engine is that they let you stand on enemies and move above enemies. In Doom, all enemies were infinitely tall, so you couldn't run above enemies or underneath enemies. They would just block you. But in this game, they added the ability to do that. So that's really cool, and you can use that to do some neat little sequence breaks. This is the first boss level. Kind of an easy boss level. These liches that you fight as the boss just basically become regular enemies from here on, so. And that's it. Pretty easy boss, especially when you bring in invincibility rings into the level. And that's episode 1. Let's move straight into episode 2. I'm not gonna waste any time with that intermission nonsense. Sorry, sorry, Captain Clever. I know he likes to watch the intermissions, but I'm just a kind of just blast right through. Hexen is the sequel to this game. Heretic is the first game in the series, and then the sequel is Hexen Beyond Heretic. So, episode 2 is kind of like hell themed, so there's a lot of lava type levels. It also has a few kind of annoying parts, but it also has some cool tricks to show off. Oh yeah, another thing about episode 2 is that it introduces the new weapons. The first episode is really restrictive on the weapons it gives you, but this is the first new weapon we're going to see, which is the Hell Staff. It's pretty much this game's plasma gun. Works pretty much identically. think it has slightly different firing speed and values and stuff like that. Just gonna lure all the enemies out of the way here so I can get the key without any issues. So those skeleton guys are called Undead Warriors, and they're kind of annoying because they can randomly fire a red axe instead of a green axe, and the red axe has a very high damage range that it can do, and sometimes it can just do like 60 plus damage instantly. So it's random damage, and it's also random whether or not he even throws it, so it's just kind of annoying when you get hit by it because it just means you got bad luck. But if you're careful, you can dodge it, so that's one of the things I really like about Heretic in comparison to Doom. Doom has a lot of hit scan enemies, so like you just can't dodge them. You just get hit if you're unlucky. But Heretic has no hit scan enemies, so if you're like quick on your feet, you can dodge pretty much every attack that's thrown at you in this game. I feel like theoretically you could probably beat most levels without getting hit at all if you played it safe enough. So here's going to be a little randomness. There's 2 disciples up here, and yeah, I just got blasted really hard by one of them. There's another disciple here, but alright, I didn't get hit by him. So those flying mage dudes are called disciples, and they fire a blast like a shotgun blast of projectiles, and if all of them hit you, it does a lot of damage. So you have to be really careful. And since it's like a shotgun blast, it's really hard to dodge as well, since you can't just strafe to the side and avoid it. You usually have to take cover or, you know, do a really wide strafe to get around the whole blast. Yeah, the Tome of Power with the Hell Staff is cool, but it doesn't really get used that much, just because it kind of is slow to start up, and it's so since you're moving so often, and the Hell Staff with the Tome requires enemies to just kind of sit in one spot, it doesn't get used all that much. This level has a really cool sequence break, so we're gonna do I guess people call them strafe jumps. We're just gonna strafe run off here and get to this platform, which is actually right at the end of the level. So we basically just skip the whole level by doing a careful jump. Ah, damn. I barely took any damage because I got lucky, I guess. So this is the labyrinth, and we get to see if the buggy ice physics want to work. So basically, if you fly over the ice, sometimes you get like a speed boost. I don't know why it happens, and it seems to happen completely randomly. I've like tried looking into why it happens, but it doesn't even save that much time if you get it, but it's pretty cool to see. So grab the wings. Let's see. Do I go really fast here, or? Oh yeah, I am. I'm going super fast over the ice, and I don't know why. So I'm glad I got to show that off at least. This is being played on a source port. It's Chocolate Heretic. I've answered it a few times, so I'll just let people in the chat answer it if they want, so I can focus on the game. God, I love when I move fast over the ice like that. I wish I knew how to get it consistently. Sometimes it just doesn't want to work. So I should probably use some health here. So. Oh, usually I have a Time Bomb of the Ancients at this part. I wonder where I missed one. It's not essential to the level strategy anyway, so it's not a big deal. This part is a little tricky to hit that switch without getting mauled. So, oh yeah, for flying up and down, you have to bind separate keys to them. So it can be a little awkward, but I find that using Shift and Alt as my up and down keys is really helpful. Since I'm using Always Run, I don't use Shift to run, so... And here's the boss level of Episode 2. So I'm going to get to show off the flamethrower that I mentioned before. When you use the Tome of Power with the rocket launcher, it becomes a flamethrower with really high DPS, so I'm going to use that to take out this boss. These bosses have, these Molotovs have 3,000 HP, which takes an absurdly long amount of time to kill, unless you're using the flamethrower, in which case you can kill them pretty fast. Like you see, that one's already dead. And I'm using an invincibility ring, so it's even easier. For some reason, the flamethrower is also really good for ammo. It uses very little ammo for some reason. Like one 5-second long string from the flamethrower only uses one shot. Let's see if I can get the little time saver here. Oh, I'm on the wrong side, so no. Alright, so that's episode 2. This is episode 3, and this level's really random, so we'll see what happens. I'll explain why in a second. So I have to do a trick here. I need to manipulate this lich to fire a whirlwind at me that will shoot me up onto this platform. That was actually my first quick load of the run. I'm actually a little impressed I made it this far without needing one. But yeah, that was the sequence break. It skips pretty much the whole level. I have to do something else kind of tricky up here as well. On GZ Doom, you can just like fly over this guy because GZ Doom doesn't emulate the physics correctly, but there we go. Yeah, but on Chocolate Heretic, you can't fly over that guy. You got to get around him. It probably looked like I went over him, but I actually didn't. It was confusing because he fired a whirlwind at me. Whoops, getting a little bullied right now. So, the Wings of Wrath are probably one of the... I don't know which item I like more, the Wings of Wrath or the Tome of Power. They're both really cool. And they're both just great additions to this game. Have I played Marathon? No, I haven't, but it's one I meant to play. I never had like a Mac when I was younger, so never really had a chance to play it. I'm gonna use the time bomb there to get these guys kind of out of my way. The key, Ring of Invincibility. Okay, I'm good. I thought I might have gotten so there's a bug in this game. Like I said, you can move on top of enemies and stuff like that, but it's not perfect. And when there are enemies that fly and can move up and down, there's a glitch where sometimes the flying enemies can move like up inside your model or down into your model from above. And when that happens, you pretty much just get stuck in place, and the enemy can attack you, and you can't attack them. So you basically just get instant killed, pretty much. It's not a fun time, but it didn't happen there, so... Yeah, I assumed there's probably a Windows source port for Marathon. I'll have to give it a shot sometime, because the game definitely looks really fun. I guess I should talk a little bit about the story of this game, since I've seen other people in the Marathon talking about the story of their games. It's pretty much just like a generic fantasy kind of bad guys took over the land type of story. I think the world's called Partharis. I don't know how to pronounce it. And it's run by a race of elves called the She. And that's who you play as. These three bad dudes called the Serpent Riders, Desperal, Korax, and Eidolon. They took over pretty much, and Desperal killed all the She, I think, except a few survivors, and you're one of the survivors, and you have to kill Desperal. And then basically the whole plot of the series, or at least the first 3 games of the series, is that basically each one centers around killing one of the 3 Serpent Riders. So in this game you kill Desperal, In Hexen, you kill Korax, and then in Hexen 2, you kill Eidolon. And then Heretic 2, I don't even remember the story of that game. I don't like to talk about that game. So I'm really stupid, and for a long time when I played this level, I forgot that there was a secret that is really, really useful in the speedrun, and I just didn't use it, which is this one right here. To get out of this room really fast and get a Tome of Power. I just never used this secret for some reason, until recently when I was like, wait, that would be really useful. Yeah, pretty much Psycho Ripper. There was a Heretic 2, yes. It was a 3D action platformer on the Quake 2 engine. It's something. Well, I mean, Hexen really is a sequel to Heretic. Well, actually, the fun fact, like, the lore behind the series is that Hexen 2, like, was not originally planned. I think the series was planned as, like, a three-part series, and the third game wasn't Hexen 2, it was called Hecatomb, I think it was called. I think John Romero said something about that once on his blog. But yeah, instead, because Activision, they just ended up making Hexen 2 instead. Oh, I didn't, where's the line dev here? Oh, never mind, I got confused and I forgot what I was doing. That's what I get for talking too much during the run. I'm actually supposed to go this way. You know, I hear a lot of people talking about a lot of people talk trash about the Hexen port on N64, but I will tell you, it is not nearly as bad as the PlayStation port. Oh my god, that thing is it's a monstrosity. Speaking of Hexen, since I see a lot of people mentioning it in the chat, I'm also running Hexen tomorrow. I think tomorrow at about the same time I'll be running Hexen, so... Yeah, underscore. I actually usually play terrible when I'm talking, so I'm kind of surprised this run is going as well as it is while I'm trying to give commentary and read chat and stuff. But, hey. So I'm gonna save here because this Molitor can just instant kill you. That's the thing about Molitors. They have an attack that does a lot of damage and can just kill you for no reason. I've been at like 100 health and 50 armor and just gotten like killed in one frame. Oh, I went through the wrong teleporter. See, like that. Alright, so grab the key and go through the right teleporter. There you go, buddy. Not that hard. I don't think the estimate's that high. Most of my runs usually end up around 55 minutes. I give myself 10 minutes for atrocities to happen. Alright, and here's technically the final boss of the run, but not really, because we have 2 more episodes to play. But when Heretic originally came out, this was the final boss. Oh, I forgot to mention strafe running too. I guess I just assumed everyone's familiar with strafe running because I feel like everyone knows about it by now. But yeah, the reason I'm going diagonally all the time is just because strafe running is just faster. You go run faster when you go diagonally. I'm also doing something a little more subtle that you probably can't see called SR50, which is a little complicated to explain, but basically I'm using it to strafe run even faster. That's all you need to know. I guess I'll explain it while I'm fighting the Lord of RNG over here. So SR50 is basically like, you know how Doom has like a million ways to strafe, where you can use strafe keys, or you can also use the strafe on button and then use your turn keys? Well, basically the idea behind SR50 is that you run forward, you strafe to the right, and then you also hold your strafe on key and your turn right key at the same time. And so by holding all of those buttons, you get a slightly faster movement speed than like normal strafe running. Is this a game where you have to run single segment and submit a demo? I mean, you don't have to, but that's how most people run the game. Alright, so this is the first level of episode 4. And the last 2 episodes, I think Captain Clever used a great word to describe these episodes, which is stringy. These levels are, they're designed much different from the original, and they're very, like, they love to just string you around everywhere. They feel less open, more kind of just like running back and forth through, like, sort of linear areas. Am I a speedy demo archiver? I mean, yeah, you could say that. Yeah, if you want to see demos for this game, I think the most up-to-date site with Heretic demos on it is Craft Lab's work in progress replacement for the Doom Speed Demos archive, which I believe it's at dsdarchive.com. And right now I think it's just Hexen demos, but he does plan to have Doom, or sorry, I think it's just Heretic demos right now, but he does plan to have Doom demos on there as well in the future. I blew it. Yes. Oh, I guess I should explain this, huh? So, basically, these teleporters are supposed to trigger by jumping off the platforms, but you can actually just trigger them by just crossing over the line and then moving back on. So you skip pretty big sections of the level by just carefully moving over to the edge and then going back, instead of jumping off. It saves you time going like through teleporters and stuff. Oh, I should... Yeah, I got a little greedy. I was trying... Usually while that elevator is going down, I collect a little bit of ammo, but I got greedy, and the elevator went back up without me. Wait, where am I going? Sorry, I got a little confused by a message in the chat. Yeah, the original version of the game actually does have strafe keys and like mouse control and stuff like that. So that's I'm not sure what you mean by that, unless you're talking about like GZ Doom with like free look with the mouse and stuff like that. It's just called SR50 because that was like the name that was used in the... I believe it was like the demo analysis programs used to just call it SR50. It's like strafe run with like a thrust of 50 or something like that. I forget the exact specifications behind it, but that's why it's called SR50. Normal strafe running is just called SR40. Oh, you're talking about Wolf 3D. Yeah, my bad. This is one of the only parts in the run where you actually get to, like, wait. Yeah, another annoying thing about the episode intermission screen, aside from not having a map, is that it doesn't show your time. You actually have to use a modded version of the game to see your time on the expansion episodes, because it doesn't show them by default, which is a little silly. I don't know why they made that decision. They decided that it's more important to tell you the name of the next level instead of your time. And I mean, I guess it is kind of important to know that, but you couldn't have just, like, fit it there somewhere else? I don't know. Yeah, that is true. Vertical movement of the mouse in this game does move your character, but a lot of speedruns of, like, Doom and Heretic and stuff like that allow you to use utilities that disable vertical mouse movement so that you don't have that problem. That's just been the way it's always something that's just been allowed since, like, the beginning, the 90s. So that isn't really much of a problem. So I never know if this level is like a sequence break or if they intended for this to be the way you beat the level, but you can skip a lot of the level by doing by using a chaos device, which I guess I should explain the chaos device. I don't think I've used one in the run yet. So a chaos device is another artifact. I just picked it up right there. And basically what the chaos device does is it teleports you back to the start of the level. So we're going to use that to open this, hit a line def here, and then teleport back to the start of the level and the exit's open, so we can just leave. I think you're supposed to do something else to get back to the start. Is Quake Champions fun? I mean, I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but I wasn't a huge fan of it. There's a lot of people who like it, so I'm sure it's a good game. It just wasn't for me. Just realized I haven't really saved much on this level yet, and this is a pretty tough level, so... here's something I haven't shown off yet, I don't think, is you can look up and down in this game. Revolutionary. Whoops. I was trying to scroll through my inventory to get to my health items, but I was too slow. These guys are not being nice. The main thing I didn't like about Quake Champions was, like, I was waiting forever. Like, I kept playing the beta, like, waiting for the dual mode to come out, and then the dual mode finally came out, and it was just, like, not what I wanted at all. I don't know why they changed it up so much. This lich is really blocking me right now. Oh, I forgot the key. Oh, yeah, episode 4 and 5 are significantly more difficult than the first two. Or the first three. Yeah, these episodes, really tough. And I took too long, so all these enemies crowded the exit. Normally this doesn't happen, because normally you don't take that long. But whatever. My health's a little low right now, so I'm gonna have to play kind of safe. So this part's a little confusing. You just have to hit a bunch of switches in like a specific order, and it's like, this is part of the thing about these levels being stringy. It's just like really cryptic. Hit these switches, and like every switch like triggers some random platform on like another part of the level, and it's like, man, the first 3 episodes were so straightforward in their level design. They were like, they had like complex like paths through the level, but they never had like stupid switches that just like trigger a platform in a completely different run. And then these levels just get so cryptic. Alright, I'm gonna do a jump here, but I stink at it, so it might take a few tries. Nope. 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 Maybe I don't have enough speed. There we go. So that jump skips some stuff in this level. What the? Oh, that's a problem. I need that invincibility ring. Oh, I messed it up again. That only triggers once. So here's what I'm talking about. Like, you run on that platform, and like, the act of running on that platform is what lowers the key. Like, why? Why though? Uh-oh. Stream down? We got stream issues? We're good? Alright. I don't know how delayed that chat response was. Alright, anyways. So this is the episode 4 boss, and since they already used all the boss enemies, they just gotta reuse them now. And basically their way of doing that is like, so you know how you fought 3 liches? Whoops. Alright, so this is something I do sometimes when I'm playing bad. Anyways, so in episode 1 the boss was 3 liches, and in episode 2 the boss was 3 Molotars. So instead, they said, well, in episode 5, or in episode 4, the boss is going to be like 10 liches. I actually don't remember exactly how many liches it is, but it's a lot. And then in episode 5, the boss is going to be 8 Molotars, which is extremely excessive. Oh, come on. So yeah, spoilers. The last level in the game, or of episode 5, I guess I don't know if it really counts as the game since it's an expansion. The last level of episode 5 is just a big room with 8 Molotars in it. It's pretty much the laziest final boss you could have ever come up with. Let's see, can I get knocked in? No. And it's time for episode 5, and the first level of episode 5 is really hard. If you want everything to go fast, you need to make sure everything goes pretty much perfectly, and that you don't lose too much health at any part. So I'm going to be quick saving a lot on this level, to make sure I'm not losing too much health. This is probably, I would say this is the hardest episode, and the first level is probably the hardest level in the episode, so... At least in a speedrun. There might be other levels that are harder to do. I know episode 4 map 1 is probably the hardest level to get 100% kills on, because it has very little ammo and just a Molotov for no reason. This is going pretty well, though. Oh, but these guys are going to be big old jerks. That's fine, though. The good news is that episode 5 does have some pretty neat tricks. Yeah, this level also has a Molotov for no reason. I don't know, man. Here's the Molotov. Oh, and I'm getting blocked really bad. But we're good now. Yikes, almost died there. But I made it. Avoiding the mace on purpose is the best strat. Oh yeah, I guess I should mention, this game's version of the BFG is the fire mace, and it's garbage. It is pretty much inferior to the other weapons in almost every way. The only thing that's useful about it is that the tome version one-hit kills, I think, every enemy in the game except, like, boss enemies, which it does not one-hit kill. It does, like, some decent damage against them, I guess, but it's still lower DPS than the flamethrower. So, it's just bad, and it's never used on purpose. It's often used on accident because you're trying to run through a hallway and you accidentally pick up the fire mace because it spawns randomly. Which, I'll go over that in a little bit. But, so sometimes you accidentally pick it up and then you accidentally use it and you're just like, ew, the fire mace, I don't want to use this. The fire mace is supposed to be the BFG? Yes, it takes the BFG's weapon slot. So, it's supposed to be the big bad weapon, and it's just terrible. Oh, we got it anyways. Alright, so this level has some cool stuff in it. Oh, anyways, about the fire mace spawning randomly. For some reason, they thought it would be a good idea to have the fire mace... First of all, I think there's only like a 70% chance that it will spawn on the map when you enter it. So there's just like a 25% chance you'll enter the map and the fire mace won't be there. And then to make it even better, the position that it spawns in is also random. So, like, it's a good thing that it sucks, because if we had to get it in a speedrun, if we had to rely on it, it would be really random. Use the fire mace once just for the meme? Alright. There. Yeah, the Molotov's having 3,000 HP seems a little excessive, but I guess it makes him hard. So here's another level where we just have to walk over random line deaths. So I back up here, and that raises this platform, because I walked on that platform. And then I walk over here, and just walking over here triggers this yellow key to come down. I don't know, man. Episode 5, whatever. So waiting for the Molitor to drop off the platform. Alright, cool. If I go through that teleporter before the Molitor walks down, there's a very high chance he's just gonna kick my ass. So, okay. Get the Chaos Device. Me. Get the Chaos Device. Last time I did a practice run of this, I forgot the Chaos Device in this room, and it is very important for the next level to have this Chaos Device. I got it, so that problem is not going to happen. Hello, I am underscore. That is Chex Quest. I am running that tomorrow, immediately after my Hexen run. So tune in for that. I also may or may not run Chex Quest 2 afterwards, depending on if we have enough time for it. Alright. So, this level just has a million switches that you have to hit that all raise different platforms. Oh, that's... wow, I can't remember the last time that happened. I forget how to even get up from here. It's been so long. Well, I quick saved, so whatever. I can't remember the last time I fell in this room. Dude, Chex Quest is great. Chex Quest was definitely well received. Okay, fun fact. So I'm 25, so that's a little young to be like into Doom type games. You might be saying, because you know I was born in '92 and Doom came out in '93, so it's not like I really played it as a kid. I didn't play it till later. But what I did play as a kid was Chex Quest. That was bad. Chex Quest came out when I was like, you know, 4 or 5. So the first FPS I ever played was Chex Quest. And because of Chex Quest, that got me into first-person shooters and Doom. So my entire introduction to the Doom community and this wonderful series of games of Doom and Heretic and, you know, all these other games was all thanks to Chex Quest. So thank you, Chex Cereal. It would never happen without you. It's gonna go invincible here so I don't get destroyed by all these disciples. So I need to get this this enchanted shield here because I'm doing something in the next level that's going to require me to have some health. So I actually don't know how many people have seen this because as far as I know I'm the only one who does this strat for the next level. So I know Captain Clever's seen it. I don't know if you've seen this, Cube Face. I don't know if you've watched my episode 5 runs, but if you haven't, you're going to be in for a little treat. My health looks pretty good. Yeah, this should be good health for the next level. Plenty of armor, so... Alright, so here we go. So there's a trick here where you can skip through this between this pillar and the wall, but it's really precise, and when I was trying to learn it, I couldn't figure out how to do it, so I decided that, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it my own way. Let's get this guy out of here. Boom. So that lets us get the blue key early. And hopefully I have enough armor to get back through. Yeah, we're good. Alright. So there's a way to do that without using the Phoenix Rod, but the problem is that it's really, really precise. And I've tried it for a long time, and I've gotten it like twice. I can never get it consistent enough to do in episode runs, so instead I decided to just learn my own way to do it. That's way more consistent and also flashier. And we're actually almost done with the run. Man, this run kind of flew by. I was really nervous about this, and then it just kind of all happened so quick. How far am I above estimate, or below estimate? Where am I at? What are we looking at here? Let me just get all these items. Or actually, I don't need that one. All right, so these guys have way too much health, so I don't feel like killing all of them. So you're gonna come over here, and I'm gonna telefrag him so that I don't have to kill him. 50-49, man. Okay, this went really well then. Wow. This is probably the fastest run I've done since I started practicing. Most of my runs in practice were like 58, 50, like, you know, 55, 58, around there. This is probably going to be 53, 54. So, really impressed with that. World record for most below estimate. Yeah, sorry about that. I know that kind of screws up the schedule when you go below estimate, but most of my practice runs were way longer than this. I'm extremely surprised at how well this went. Although this level can go very poorly, so I shouldn't count my chickens yet. Is this world record? Well, I don't know. It might technically be, but like, here's the thing. I guess I was gonna bring this up before. I may as well bring it up now while I'm just spending 10 years firing rockets at Molotovs. In this game, we don't really run full game runs like this. The most common type of like long speed run is episode runs, because you can't record demos of like the full game. You can just record episodes or demos of each episode. So normally when people speedrun this game, they just do like, you know, episode 1 speedruns, episode 2 speedruns, or whatever episode they feel like playing. And I figured for a marathon that's pretty boring. So instead of just doing one episode, I decided I was just going to do them all back to back. So it's like, this might be world record technically, but I'm probably the only person who speedruns it this way. So it's like uncontested world record, or whatever you want to call it. There are some people who do episode 1 through 3 runs. I know Cube does that. Alright, so after I kill this last guy, a bunch of teleporters are going to lower down, and once I walk through the teleporter, that's when time is. So time is going to be in, like, right now. Yeah, I suck with the rockets. So yeah, that was Heretic, all 5 episodes. World record, yeah, sure. If you want to call it that, that's cool. So, yeah, that's pretty much the end of the game. I forget what is next. I know I was looking at the schedule. Oh, I actually have the schedule up. So, okay, so the next game is going to be Super Hot by, run by one... Is that Loksu or One Oksu? I don't know. No Heretic 2. Sorry. I don't know when they're going to cut me off, so I'm just going to say, yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and, you know, whatever.